All right, enough is enough here. You're getting trapped. Do not fall for this trap that you are currently seeing in crypto right now. Welcome back to the Crypto Bliss channel. I am so happy to be back. As you can hear, I still have a bit of nasal. I have been man down and worked to the Burj Khalifa this week. We are absolutely excited to be back together with you. Now, I know the last video I did for you was, well, it was 5 days ago before I started this, but it's 6 days ago now. I've been man down since Sunday. Been trying to rest, take some time out. I haven't had much rest. I've been beasting businesses and getting these videos loaded up for you. I'm trying to keep up at least 3-4 videos a week for you at the very least, but I don't think you need many more than that, right? Especially because of everything that I've been sharing with you on the community. So today I want to share with you a couple things. First of all, we are going to have a look at some data and something that I've discovered that you can possibly use ChatGPT, and of course I'm using the paid version, so I'm saying to you, make sure you use the paid version. There's not much difference, but there is some difference, and that slight difference can be the difference between making and breaking your portfolio. So at the end of the day, you decide on the tools that you want to use to make sure that you can maximize the gains in this cycle, because I'm seeing my portfolio absolutely explode. Even though we're still somewhat hovering, I'm seeing so many of the assets that I've selected in my portfolios, my various portfolios, absolutely ripping it right now. And we haven't even begun the altcoin mania. The other thing that I'm going to go through with you, a couple indicators pointing out on the charts that may indicate to us where we're at. Some of them are looking a little bit bearish, especially on Bitcoin, but the others, we're looking quite bullish. So what will we see? We're going to start with that, and then we will have a look at where we're at on ChatGPT. Let's dive right in, my community. Make sure to subscribe and, of course, hit that notification bell and share this video with your friends and your family before the next leg starts. Let's dive right in. Now, starting off with the scary indication, okay? And you can see usually this trading indicator isn't incorrect. When it says sell, it means sell. When it says sell, it means sell. When it says buy, it means buy. Buy. Not so good. So bearing in mind that this was a several month capitulation here. I mean, this was from 4th of March until pretty much the 9th of September. Isn't that interesting? I just found something else while I've been on this with you. Now, right? Look at where we had this buy signal start to happen. 16th of September. Isn't it ironic because the Federal Reserve around the middle of the month of September decides on interest rate decisions? And I do recall that was the first point an interest rate lower happen, a reduction in interest rate happened actually. So now what we can see here is we're seeing that we were in capitulation for a number of months here, and at this point we had a buy. So if we have to wait another 10 to 12 days, my friends, for our friend at the Federal Reserve to announce a reduction in the federal interest rates, well, my friends, then so be it. Then we shall see the rally, right? For now, we're actually seeing quite a bit of a sell signal. Now, it could look something like this, which I presume it would be, because at the end of the day, we're on a major support line here at this point that took us a number of times to break through. Even here, we faked out, we pulled back, and then we broke through. And currently, we're actually just retesting at this moment in time. So I would honestly not be concerned, and I'm going to even pull this line up here like this, and I would start to say to you that's going to start to make more sense. Now, the interesting thing here is we can look at this pattern in 3 shapes, right? The shoulder, the head, and the shoulder, meaning that this was the breakout, and we're just back testing the breakout for the next leg up. So I would not necessarily be too concerned at this point, because we can see the accuracy is accurate, but not always. Okay, now the indication is obviously a number of our indicators are talking to us, but if we look at Ethereum and we see where Ethereum is as well, Ethereum could possibly be in somewhat a similar position. If we look at the candles that somewhat just started to cascade down, we hit a sell and then a buy and then an immediate sell, but again we capitulated, and around that same time, and how interestingly so is this, right? On the 16th of September was the Bitcoin buy signal. On the, so 4 weeks later, so an entire month later, in the middle of October, was then the Ethereum rally. Look at what we've done since then, and we didn't even have an interest rate move. Now, obviously, with all the ETF approvals, the bottoming out here, the breakout of this level, my friends, it's undeniable that even if we pull back down to 4,000, this major support level here too, that's probably where we're going to experience the buy signal in this cycle. Now, if we have a look at the Bitcoin dominance, I don't believe Bitcoin dominance is going to go anywhere. It is currently under a very, very solid level of resistance. It confirmed that the breakout, it's retesting, it's tested once, it's testing again, and it's failing to break the previous candle's high. If you zoom in a little bit, you can see that the current candle is not breaking that candle's high. And yes, we haven't finished the week yet, okay? It didn't break the low either, but this box here, yes, was the level of support, but as you can see where my top of the box is, I could probably raise that up into this zone right here. That would probably be the major resistance level. And if you have a look, we're at the 0.236 on the Fibonacci, which is acting as resistance too. So I would, on the basis of these indicators, still with a continuous double top here and a double sell indicator, believe that we continue the momentum downwards. The last three I'm going to show you here is total 3. Now total 3, my friends, even this line, this line has been somewhat invalidated of some sort. We have had the buy signal here. We have not yet had any sell signal. We're at the ceiling of the total 3, and altcoins are on a very strong support level here. I would say to you that we are going to start the leg upwards, okay, and move. Once we break out of this level here, we're going to be making a lot of money together if you have positioned yourself in the tokens that I have shared with you on the channel. Of course, this isn't financial advice. I'm just sharing with you what it is that I'm doing. I've shown you what it is that I'm doing. I've shared my portfolio. I've shared the coins I've invested with you. I've showed you my trading. You are welcome to use my Bybit link down below. Get yourself up to $30,000 deposit bonus. And you can see I literally am all in. All my dry powder is completely in at this point, and I now have 20 long positions reopened. I did, as you know, drop out of some of them, and I went down to 12. I'm now back in, considering we have somewhat come back a little bit, and Ethereum will be that indicator. But we have again had the strong buy signal on the others' dominance, which is of course the bottoming out. We're creating higher lows here, and we are probably looking to create a head and shoulders pattern from what I can see in the current formation. So shoulder, head, bump up, shoulder, breakout, retest, bump up. That's going to very likely happen very quickly, although I would say at the very most, as I have been telling you on this channel for a number of months now, you probably only have maximum until May next year to make money. honestly, I would start probably laddering out at the latest on certain coins at very specific levels, and I'm going to show you that based on Ethereum in a moment. But for now, have a look at Solana. Again, Solana's breaking out. We haven't had the buy signal yet, but that is a very clear breakout of a downward trend. While we bounced off of this upward support here, not breaking these lows here, and bouncing just above this support level. My friends, we're going to very likely do something like this, break out and continue up like I've drawn here for us. Solana is about to outperform Ethereum. Why is that? Because Solana is capturing memes, it's capturing real world assets very fast here. It is the fastest #1 asset that is producing real world asset projects. People are producing real world asset projects and meme coins on there. Now, those two are probably the top two in my personal, as well as gamification in this cycle, because of the narratives that I've selected in this, not because of anything else. And of course, this isn't financial advice. I continue to share that with you. And just so that you know, and I continue to share with you, I have staked some in shitcoins. Now, Bitty and Doge and some of these others are meme narratives. Now, I've made some really good money off of this coin already, and I tell you what, this is a clear indication of a breakout of Bitty. Okay, I have spoken about Bitty a number of times up here, so go and check out these couple videos here. You'll see it there. Bitty is breaking out, probably pull back. Even if it pulls back down here, it's not going to break, or it's unlikely to break this, okay? Which tells me that at 1, we're at fair value at the previous all-time high. That's still that's still 3 million away, okay? And if you have a look at where we could bust up to here, I mean, my friends, we could go even higher than that quite quickly, considering that this is the Bitcoin mascot. Okay, look at the volume that is busy coming in here. It's one of the highest we have seen thus far. I would absolutely make sure you go onto Dex Screener, search Bitty Sol, and make sure you're finding the right Bitty Sol market cap on PumpSwap. Okay, sign in with your Phantom or your Firebridge wallet, and you can then trade your Solana and get yourself some Bitty. Okay, I would maybe wait for the breakout, but honestly, if you lose out on this opportunity, sorry, man, just it is what it is. Okay, that's your choice. Now, before I move on, I hope you are subscribed to the Crypto Bliss community, because I'm dropping some serious alpha here after not being here for a few days. But before I move on to the ChatGPT component of this video, let's dive right into Ethereum. Okay, I want to go on to Ethereum's higher time frame for us right now. And what I want to share with you is that the Fibonacci speaks to zones that the price may or may not pump up to. We have no clue. Okay, it's not guaranteed to do that, and that's why investing is almost like gambling. However, I'd like to start to change that narrative on this channel, considering that we have some of the world's biggest institutions, nation states, etc., invest, and ETFs investing in Bitcoin and Ethereum and Solana, actually. And I don't doubt that we'll see some Cardano, AVAX, and XRP ETFs at some point down the line too. And I also don't doubt that certain narratives that I'll show you on ChatGPT in a moment won't be the decentralized exchanges that will be the leaders in the crypto space for governments, specifically the US government as an example, to run their entire GDP off of, manage it as a ticker. Wouldn't that be interesting, right? On the blockchain, the US government and all governments on the blockchain. Ha! It's not a wild thought, my friends. You'll see why on Twitter. and I'm not going to share that content with you right now. I'm trying to delve right back in here. So as you can see, we've had a massive buy signal. And if you really look at the way these other candles behave, these first candles on breakout aren't really the gigantic candles. It's really the ones that happen after the breakout. And if you have a look at what happened to Ethereum after it broke out of the all-time high, which it is about to do, and it really just broke through, I presume that next week's candle or the following 2 weeks candles, maximum 1 month, this will break through. Okay. And why I'm sharing this with you, okay, is because you want to be taking the investments and the risks here. The last point, you want to be taking in an investment in crypto, okay, always starting off with the blue chips, then taking profits up on the journey, and then using those profits to also, not all of them of course, but using those profits to invest in mid caps, lower caps, memes, and then maximize the gains that you have in the cycle. If you're smart about what you do with your money, okay, you will make lots of money this cycle and potentially become financially free. Now, let's get to it and behave yourselves here. Okay, I know you're enjoying this channel. Okay, I just have to share with you right now that these are the moments you need to be confident about, and you need to be knowledgeable about when you can see these candles starting to break out. So cool, we broke out, we had this massive sell pressure here, boom, bounce off. Okay, the next 3 weeks were absolutely the next 3 months were absolutely insane. So when these altcoins rally, they rally for like 3 to 6 months at the absolute most. Even I'd say 1.5 months to 6 months at the absolute most. Okay, now I believe we're at this point right now. As you can very clearly see, I'm not pulling a rabbit out of a hat here. I'm showing you the obvious. Okay, look at the difference of where our Fibonacci's are. Okay, so at this point, our blue, which is somewhat here, we're in it somewhat here. That's what I'm saying to you. But look at how we punched up. So honestly, guys, first level on Ethereum is up here at 7,300. Once we break out, first level up on Ethereum, and I will be the first person to call that out on YouTube to the 1.68, $7,287. Whoops. Okay, I mean, we may just miss it like we did there. I'm telling you, that's where we're going before we then bust through that and make through the next moves. Now, just as this area is here, I need you to know that once we start getting into the red zone, the 2.618, you should probably have taken some, at least 50% of your profits already. Okay, I would then say to you that at your next level, your purple zone on the 3.6 and you can decide, look at how it wicks in there and then sucks that liquidity right back down into the red zone. Foresight on the trading chart, okay, that at this point it was probably time, once it broke through this level and we really started rallying up. If you go and look on the smaller time frames, I'm telling you, on the smaller time frames, there were indicators there telling you to get the hell out of the market. That's about the time you then get your last 50% out. Now, I would say that once we break through this level, probably a good time to take 25. Once we get somewhat mid-range in this level, maybe another 10. You know, you can always leave a little bit if the market decides maybe it wants to go up a little bit. But honestly, I would want to be 100% out of the market, okay, at the 3.618 level on Ethereum. And if we're going to look at that, we're now starting to talk about 7,287 is the first range. A very hard punch through this level, the 2.618, right up to somewhere this level. Massive drawdown again. I don't know if we're going to get the same drawdown because of what I just said, the narratives and what I'm about to show you. So I would presume we would comfortably break above the 2.618. At that point, my friends, I can't tell you what to do. We'll have to analyze it when we get there. But I would presume that we would have some sort of pullback, at least back down here, if not even all the way back down to the all-time high before it makes its next move up. We could see catastrophic pullbacks. At that point, my friend, I hope you're enjoying this. Okay, let's move on to the ChatGPT side of things. Now, I want to share this with you. Let's start off here. So first of all, I just put something extraordinarily simple in here. And I'm going to give you one example just now of the next ChatGPT slide. But what will the main catalyst send? What will be the main catalyst to send this crypto bull cycle on the next leg up? So it gave me a few things here. Then I started reading through the information. I looked at it, and it's pretty much all the same information that everybody's saying on the internet. So I'll give you those 6 main points. Bitcoin halving supply and shock, usually 18 months to 12 to 18 months after the Bitcoin halving, which is around now. That's when the next peak happens. Institutional adoption and ETF flows, and I think that's what creates the differentiator in the cycle. Regulatory clarity and legislative support, technological upgrades and real-world use cases, macroeconomics tailwinds and liquidity expansion, i.e. Fed dropping interest rates soon, and market psychology. Retail will have FOMO, meme cycles, and honestly, real enthusiasm, especially in the face of gains, reinforces bullish momentum with 88% of BTC held at profit already. Most retail holders are buyers, not sellers. Okay, meme coins and virality remain powerful tailwinds in altcoin seasons. Now, this honestly wasn't really anything different, right? And it wasn't really up to date. So what I said here is I require the most up to date with this information and specifics, and do not be lazy. You have to fight ChatGPT just a little bit, give it a bit of shit, honestly. So to give me the correct information for the exact next leg up for crypto, now that we are in September 25, what does the next leg up and the road ahead look like for us? You got it. Let's be specific. So it spits out the chart for us. It tells us where we're at. We're at the price today. Now, it's giving us a snapshot of today. I'm not going to go through that with you, but the real near-term catalysts, which are the next 2 to 8 weeks, which is what I've been pointing out in this video, the Fed rate cut and falling yields, which are likely happening in mid-September, ETF flow regime, so the last 48 hours show rotation back to Bitcoin, 600 million net inflows across 2 sessions. If we see a rolling 5-day BTC ETF net inflow to 1 billion, that historically lines up with the upside momentum runs in new all-time high attempts. The SEC's generic listing standards decision late September. So the SEC is weighing exchange filings on the CBOE, New York Stock Exchange, and NASDAQ. That would fast track spot crypto ETPs beyond BTC and ETH. A green light could open the gate for, like I said, Solana. I didn't mention Dodge. That is a good possibility. XRP products without bespoke 19B4S and obvious catalyst for Alt L1 rotations, right? Then we have Solana spot ETF timelines early mid-October, like I've been mentioning. I mentioned Solana spot ETF probably nearly a year ago, okay? And I'm not going to share that with you right now, but multiple issuers have uploaded Solana filings with analysts calling the back and forth constructive. A mid-October decision window is in view. Approval would likely spark a Solana-led alt leg, and that's exactly why Solana is going to outperform ETH. We could see Solana, I mean, look at one candle up, just by the way, if we have such news. Solana against Ethereum could pump up 65% and beyond. Now, on-chain liquidity basis, real-world assets and stablecoins are growing tremendously. Tokenized treasuries are now 7.4 billion, and stablecoins are about 285 billion total market cap, and continue to expand. If you watched my videos here, I think it was this one, man, my friends, it's like a god candle. It's like a Zeus candle. So what the next leg up likely looks like: conditions and levels. There's a macro trigger, flow trigger, price levels. So flow trigger, Fed cut confirmed, plus tame CPI PPI prints that don't spook the Fed. Flow trigger, keep seeking BTF net inflows averaging 200 to 300 million a day, or 1 billion per week. That's already what September 2nd and 3rd looks like. And isn't it ironic that we have Uranus heading into retrograde this weekend, plus we have the lunar eclipse this weekend? Whoo-wee! That's the dark moon, my friends. So the price level, BTC holds 112 to 115 on daily closes and breaks 123k all-time high on strong volume. Decisive weekly close through all-time high is your configuration of next leg. Now phase B is broadening weeks a month. If generic listings pass and Solana ETFs get approved, expect a rotation towards Solana and high beta L2s. So I presume we're waiting for those to come in. Then once that starts to happen, 100 million a day would keep it sustained. ETH context is Petra shipped May 7, improving UX and validator ops, L2 throughput, and real world assets keep building the case for ETH beta flows corporate. Phase C, altcoin season after confirmation. If BTC is trending in price discovery and ETFs on non-BTC ETH assets launch, expect L1, L2 rotations and liquidity spill over to mid-caps. The tail stablecoins net supply rising, DEX volumes expanding, and funds chasing Solana L2 ecosystems. Now, what you need to actually monitor is BTC ETF flows daily, okay? ETH ETF flows need to flip a consistent net flows of $135 million prints. Fed outcomes, the SEC rulings, real world assets and stable coins, tokenized treasuries, the risks or invalidation. So what could derail this? No shallower Fed rate cuts or sticky inflation keeping real yields high, pressure on risk assets. ETFs fatigue, BTC flow fizzles back to flat and negative. Regulatory delays. The SEC doesn't adopt. I doubt that's going to happen because we have a very pro-crypto Senate and cabinet. So minus supply spikes. The bottom line, no fluff. Honestly, the cleanest and immediate catalyst is the September Fed rate cut. So we're all potentially waiting for that, and I do see it coming. Now, that will send more money into the ETF inflows, okay? That is the reality of it, because there will be more liquidity available. And once they start to do that, my friends, the sound of the money printers do turn on, which means that M2 goes up, which means that everything that I've just gone through, all the trades I've just shared with you, are going to make you and I a load of money. I will share with my 20 trades with you very quickly in a short moment. The last thing that I wanted to share with you on ChatGPT, and if you're enjoying this, make sure you're subscribed to the Crypto Bliss community, man. I am speaking with a very croaky voice right now. And honestly, my throat is hurting like hell, but I'm here for you. And I'm doing this video because I haven't been here and you need this update right now. So make sure to share some love on the channel. Now, what I did was I screenshot, and I did this very simply. I'm going to go over one example for you in this video. I screenshot hype off my phone, as you can see here. And basically what I did was, this is on the weekly, and we've just got volume and the moving averages and the time frame, the price, the pair, and the time of this was last night. Okay, I was a bit, I couldn't sleep, and I was just fiddling around a little bit, and I just thought, let's try and play with something here. So this is what I did. So as you can see here, does this chart indicate we are about to, that was meant to be move higher or lower? Clearly I was a little bit tired. Higher or lower given the sentiment of the bear market. Of the market. So looking at Hype USDT weekly chart, ChatGPT decided to spit out the following. These are the key observations. So price action, 45.87, right? The high was 51.15. You can see that up there. With rejection, long upper wick candle. Price is holding above the 20-week moving average. That's right there, which is 37.91, and consolidating near the 5 and 10-week moving averages, 45.49 and 44.40. This indicates a strong medium-term trend support, and the trend is, since bottoming near $2.50 in December 24, and I invested in this at $14, okay, we have massively rallied 1800% already. Momentum is still bullish according to ChatGPT, but it's now entering a consolidation zone between $44 and $51. The volume has been strong and rising during the rally. The latest candle showing decreasing volume on pullbacks, which suggests sellers are not aggressive. Market sentiment indicators, so this was from yesterday. Today we were up 2.25%. The last 7 days minus 2.4%. A small cooling period. Whoop-de-doo. The last 30 to 180 days has been strongly bullish with an 18 to 202% move. Look at that. Okay, if you've been part of my channel, you would have made some of that money, my friends. I have taken some profits on my hype, just by the way, from that little rally. You must always take profits. Taking profits is one of the most important things that you can do for yourself in trading, in crypto. Is to take some profits, give yourself back, take out your initial investment if you've already made that back, okay, and some good money thereafter, and let the rest run. Okay, it's free money. That's what my bitty trade is here. This is free money that I have on this trade here right now. And I got in bitty somewhere here, my friends. Okay. Now, you can see here that market sentiment, this shows that while short-term momentum is choppy, long-term sentiment remains bullish. So what are the possible scenarios? The bullish case is a higher move. If HYPE holds 44 to 45 support and breaks the 51.15 resistance, the next target zone is 55 to 60. Rising MAs and strong long-term trend favor. Honestly, I think we'd break way higher than that on the next run because of what HYPE is. I have spoken about HYPE. Go check out my other videos. I'll leave them in the cards above here. The bearish case is a lower move. If we break 44 and it does so decisively, HYPE could retrace back to 38 to 40. It's not that much of a pullback, right? Which is the 20-week moving average support. But a close below 37.91, the 20 moving average, would confirm a much deeper correction. So the sentiment and likely direction is slightly bullish in a consolidation phase, but slightly more bullish. Given strong long-term trend and holding above key moving averages, HYPE is more likely to grind higher after consolidation. However, in the short term range between 44 and 51 before a decisive breakout. Now, there's a safer entry around the 44 to 45, confirmation entry above 51, and a risk level break below 38. So in other words, put your stop loss under 38 if you're going to be trading HYPE here, my friends. So if you enjoyed that, make sure you're subscribed to the Crypto Bliss community. I'm now going to give you one example of this, and I'm just going to use Ethereum actually. Why don't we use Ethereum? So let's do this with Ethereum, right? Okay, let's go get the snipping tool. That's the best tool to use here to do this. And let's go and grab this for Ethereum. Bam. We'll go copy. We'll go to our new ChatGPT. We'll paste this. And I just want to go and grab and I'm just going to keep it very, very simple, just as I did here. And you can do what you want. I'm just keeping it simple for the sake of this video. I'm going to explore this a lot more. Okay. But does this chart indicate we're about to move higher or lower given the sentiment in the market? Let's have a look at what it spits out right in front of your very eyes. All right, now that it's spat out, looking into ETH USD monthly chart, here's what stands out. Key technical observations. Current price zone, ETH is trading around 4315, which is slightly above the 2.618 Fibonacci extension and below the 3.618, which is the all-time high. This suggests we're in the middle of a critical resistance to support flip. Major resistance levels are 4639, which is a strong supply zone. So once we get up there, whoops, 4883, last major resistance before the all-time high territory, and 4925, Fibonacci 3.618 extension, which will become big resistance, which is the all-time high. Now, the support levels are 3926, 3585, and 2246. Okay, which is all the way back down, pretty much halfway of where we are right now. Now, I don't think we're going to go all the way there, but the trend context. The chart shows several sell signals clustering around this current range, mid 4Ks. That's a sign the zone is being tested heavily and profit taking is happening. However, when we look at Tom Lee and the others and BlackRock, and they're buying millions in Ethereum. Okay, Mr. Trump is buying millions in Ethereum. Okay, I would not be selling my Ethereum at this point. However, the fact that ETH broke out of the ascending triangle visible from 22 to 24 accumulation is bullish long term. Macro Fibonacci targets are 6,263, which is the 4.618 is the next parabolic extension. 7287, isn't it so interesting that I pointed that out, is the long-term blue target. So that there is the previous all-time high. As you can see, it's that previous all-time highs Fib extension. Okay, I'm sure there'll be some on the Fibonacci's all-time high. That is the area technically that we would have expected Ethereum to hit if we had rallied out as hard as we thought. Now, when we come back here, it's bullish bias medium term and bearish risk short term, which is what we're experiencing. And the market sentiment, given Bitcoin's ongoing cycle strength and liquidity rotation into ETH and altcoins, the sentiment leans bullish. But near-term volatility could bring a dip before the next breakout, which is a buying opportunity, my friends. So if ETH holds and breaks above 4,900, the next leg up likely accelerates us to between 6,200 and 7,200, like I pointed out. If it fails and expects a pullback to 3,900 or 3,600 before continuation, like I said, around $4,000 odd, okay? Sentiment is absolutely bullish overall. My friends, let's go and have a look at my trades now. Now, you can see Ethereum is just dropping here, and honestly, that's because of the US jobs numbers that came out. They were obviously a lot more bullish than what we expected. Now, you can see I'm in ETH, I'm in BTC, and if you want to see, I'll always share with you my profitable trades. Let's go and actually put profits right there next to it so you can see ETH profit. Why don't we do, yeah, okay, that's fine. So ETH profit, BTC profit, Link profit, ADA profit. Say down, Dodge down, Ton down, Trump down, Ondo down. I got into an Ondo today, my Trump today. Algo's down, been down for a little while. AVAX is up. Near, I got in today. 21% down there already. Solana's up, of course. Sonic is down. Render is down. Pengu, I entered in today again. We down. Prime down. Sui down a little bit. Injective, I got into today, down a little bit. Fartcoin down 25%, got into today. So, my friends, I'm telling you, and I've gotten low leverage on these trades, and that's the importance here, is that don't risk all of your, even go 2x or 3x or 1x, okay? Don't be too greedy. I've gotten 5x, and that's my risk sustainability on my channel and my appetite for trading. So thank you for being here with me on the Crypto Bliss community. I really hope you have enjoyed this video. I know it's been spent a little bit of time, but you got some good value, and if you believe that you did, let me know down in the comments below. I'd love to hear your comments, and of course I'd love to know, if you're trading, what trades you may be in, okay, and what coins would you like me to perhaps speak about on my next video. I'd love to hear what the community is looking at right now. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you. We'll see you on the next one.